listening to the CVS show on Phonic FM 106.8, bringing news from the voluntary and community sector in Exeter. Exeter CVS runs the local volunteer centre, offers affordable learning in IT, management and personal development, and gives membership support to charities and community groups across the city. Visit www.exetercvs.org.uk or call 01392 20 20 55 to find out more.
Supporting local talent. This is Phonic FM.
We're chatting away here, aren't we? Welcome to the CVS show Thursday afternoon. And the reason you haven't heard from us for a few minutes is because we're just enjoying chatting, aren't we, guys? I've got the Words Community Writing Group here. I've got JJ, Barbie and John. Hello.
Hi there.
And John, JJ, John, I want to pick up on what you were saying just now about the how they used to water the wine down in ancient Greece.
Yeah, there was a woman official, and there was always a woman official, and she would she was the person in charge of the feast. She would decide, looking around, seeing if people were slightly inebriated or how much they were inebriated. She would decide by how much the wine should be watered.
And do you think they could tell that it was watered? Did people complain, do you think?
No, they drank it.
She was the boss.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they never drank it neat anyway, did they? They always had it watered.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah. We got some stories this afternoon, haven't we? I have to apologise to everyone because this was all meant to happen just before Christmas, wasn't it? We were meant to have a Christmas special.
Yeah.
And was there a theme to the stories, Bobby? Is it like a...
It was just basically to do some form of a present or a gift, but it didn't have to be a Christmas one. Perhaps just an idea.
Yeah.
Christmas was a little bit too tinsely, and so we thought we'd just keep it as some form of a present.
Okay. And we've got 3 stories. Is that one from each of you guys, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah? So do you want to kick one off or do you want a bit of music first?
I think a nice piece of music first. And
Yeah.
Okay. Have we got any requests music-wise, if I can quickly find something? Okay.
Loads in my head, but...
Oh, God.
Well, we'll go with what's playing at the moment, and then we'll think of some bits and bobs in a while.
The CVS show on Phonic FM. Find out more about community and voluntary work in Exeter at www.exetercvs.org.uk. Visit us weekdays 9:30 to 4:30 on King William Street or call 01392 20 20 55.
That was a nice little musical interlude, and that song, Rivers of Babylon, was specially played for Emily at the CVS. And we know why, don't we? We're not going to say. It's one of her favourites. She might be listening, she might email and tell us off. Well, we'll see. That's a brilliant song. I'm a big Boney M fan.
Oh yeah, it's lovely. Very special sound, didn't they?
Right, are we going to have a story? Who are we going to have first?
Okay. Yeah. You sure? Okay. Well, tell me when you want me to start.
Okay, I'm just going to adjust the mics around. If I turn myself off, then I know that's better. And okay, yeah, if you fire away then, John.
Okay, well, this is John asked. This is The Gift. Are you sure she'd like a doll's house? Oh yes, Henry said. I'm sure she'd love it. Why? Diane crossed her arms and gave him a questioning stare. Well, she's a girl and she's 6. She still stared at him. Oh, isn't she? Yes, Henry, she's our daughter and she's 6. And she spends her time climbing trees. Small ones so far, I'm glad to say. Oh, so she's an athletic girl. Lots of energy. 6. They all have lots of energy. None of her friends climbs trees. Well, I don't know, maybe they don't like trees. Don't blather, Henry. Men are pathetic when they blather. I tell you what, if she doesn't like it, I'll tell her it was your idea, okay? Oh, yes, okay. Henry looked relieved. That evening, he retrieved the Sears Roebuck catalogue from the upstairs bathroom and began to go through it. There were the houses, Mock Tudor, Regency, etc., and then the contents, curtains, chairs, cutlery, vases, and even tiny pictures with everything from Fra Angelico to Mondrian. Mondrian? Surely not. But there it was on page 43. There was even a tiny grandfather clock which worked. Huh, he said, battery driven. At that moment he felt a presence behind him. What are you doing muttering to yourself like that, Henry? It's a Sears Roebuck catalogue, not the Holy Bible. Anybody would think you were buying it for yourself. Henry recognised the exasperated tone. We can't just give her an empty doll's house. There has to be something to put in it. I suppose you mean dolls. Well, that's what goes in a doll's house. She doesn't have any dolls, Henry. Oh, apart from Valenza, that grandmother gave her years ago. And she's rather worn and tatty and wouldn't go in the doll's house anyway. What, Grandma? No, Henry, not Grandma. Don't be so facetious. And she swept out. But Henry was beginning to enjoy himself. When Christmas Day dawned, Henry went down to make coffee. Daisy had already emptied her stocking and was sampling the presents round the tree. The large box with "To Daisy with Love" remained untouched. You'd better wait for Mummy to come down to open your big present. Okay, said Daisy absently, and her fingers continued to unwrap things. When he took the coffee back to Diane, she said, I'm sorry I've been so grumpy recently. I don't know how you put up with it. I know you're worried about the lectures you have to do, he said. Oh, I'll manage it, but it's been making me edgy. When they went downstairs, Daisy was sitting eyeing the big box. Can I open it now? She said plaintively. Of course, darling, her mother said. Here's some scissors. They sat and watched as she expertly snipped at the fancy paper and then peered puzzled at the next layer. But she was soon at work removing that to expose the cardboard box underneath. In went the scissors again, snip, 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 and at last it was open, and Daisy gasped. It's a machine, she said. A machine? Henry said, aghast. Yes, Daddy, it's got wheels and handles and things. Henry got up to look and found Diane beside him. What on earth is it? She said. There was a long pause before Henry got the words out. I think it's a bottle corking machine, he said faintly. Diane started to laugh. Of all things, a bottle corking machine. Well, all Henry could think of was disaster when he saw Daisy's bright eyes on him. It is for me, isn't it? She said. Well, yes, Daisy, but... To his amazement, she looked delighted. Can I do some bottles with it? Of course, Daisy. Henry and Diane, still laughing, went to get some bottles and old corks, and Daisy set to work, corking and uncorking with huge delight. I really am sorry, Henry said when he and Diane were back in the kitchen. To his surprise, she came up to him and kissed him. I've come to realise God has a special place for idiots like you, Henry Warren. It was a stroke of genius. But, no buts, genius. Now ring Uncle Jimmy and explain and ask him to bring some more bottles and corks when they come to dinner. The afternoon passed in a blaze of adulation as Daisy showed her amazing new skill. By the evening, all the uncorked bottles had been corked and all the corked bottles uncorked. Uncle Jimmy offered her a job, sometime in the future, in his wine and spirit business. I know a good one when I see one, he said. The rest of Christmas was only marred by Henry offering to send the bottle corking machine back and replace it with a doll's house. Don't you dare, Daddy. Daisy said, "I love my bottle corking machine, and I don't want a doll's house. And anyway, Uncle Jimmy's going to give me a job. He thinks I'm special." And she cast a fond glance at the source of her speciality. Diane twinkled. "That's my girl," she whispered.
John, that was superb.
Excellent.
That was so madly surreal that it must be. Is that actually
Really happened to my grandfather's cousins.
really?
Yeah, really happened.
What a brilliant thing. So, Uncle, whoever it was, got the doll's house. Somebody else got the doll's house.
No, they never got the doll's house.
Okay.
Daisy was so happy with the bottle corking machine, she didn't want the doll's house.
She's 6 years old. She got a bottle corking machine, and she was good at it. That is absolutely brilliant. So that is a true story.
Yeah, lots of lovely dialogue there, John.
The strange thing is, after I had written it, all the newspapers became full of articles about dolls' houses. And of course the Miniaturist, which the book that was published about a year ago, was a tremendous sell about a young Dutch woman who was given a big doll's house by her husband, and the story revolves around that. But the thing is, the Museum of Childhood, which is part of the Victoria and Albert Museum, has just put on, which I want to see very much, an exhibition of dolls' houses.
Oh, really? So it's the theme's out there. then. It's just-
And there's one with about 15 rooms and an automatic lift that works.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I was really interested when you said that. I mean, this is obviously going back a long way. That people could buy them with Mondrian paintings in them, and
Queen Mary's doll's house. The actual little tiny record player works. It's a real record.
Wow.
The books are all handmade, real books with a script.
Yeah.
The paintings are real.
Yeah.
It's just a magic thing. It's just wonderful. The sewing machine works.
Yeah.
Absolutely works. That tiny.
That's incredible.
It is. It's the record player, and the disc is that's that tiny, but it's real, and you can play it.
And the Sears Roebuck catalogue really does have a miniature grandfather clock that works for sale. I looked it up in the catalogue.
Wow, it still has it, does it?
Real, yes. Now it's still
Fantastic. That's amazing.
Doll's house is a lovely thing to have.
It's a fascinating world then. I mean, the miniature thing, and so that's having a
Fathers
revival.
used to give them to their daughters to teach them to run the household.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And there was one father who leased a doll's house to his daughter at $1 a week, and she was to give him a month's notice if she decided to discontinue the rental. This is true. I remember reading this.
So it's all about teaching then, isn't it? It's all about learning.
Yeah.
And fun as well. But the things you can get, the tiniest thing, little rocking horses and wonderful things.
So there must be people who specialise in this, and this is how they do.
And
sorry, John. It goes from, you can buy them, quite cheap things, right up to very, very high quality, all handmade. And things that work. That's the magic.
Yes, one woman's mother, she's given the big doll's house, I think, to the V&A. But her mother used to have all these pieces made. She had pieces of furniture from her house copied by a carpenter.
Oh, so
she had her grand piano copied in tiny miniature.
And would it be playable, presumably?
I don't think the piano was playable, but it could have been.
There's
Must
one-
be houses with them.
if Queen Mary's doll's house has a piano, it will be playable. Everything is in that
It's real.
works, and the wine is real. The wine
really?
as well in the little bottles in Queen Mary. It's really worth googling it, having a look at it online.
So you can, and people can see this at the V&A.
No, that one I think was at Windsor when I saw it. I don't know where it is now. If it's still at
Probably
Windsor.
still is. Yeah, probably still is.
Because it's a big thing. It's not a little doll's house. It's a big one that you could walk from one end to the other.
Oh right, so okay, yeah.
It's, I'm half the size.
So if
of
people
this
were,
room.
if like miniature people were living in it, how tall would they be?
It's still, they're not that big. I should think that the figures are probably like that.
Okay, so about
Because
4
it'd be
inches.
palatial. It wouldn't be low ceilings and.
Yeah.
But most little dolls are only about that big for dolls' houses.
I suppose they would have done them with gardens as well, so you could probably get like little bonsai things.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
I wonder what our fascination with that is. Is it a childhood thing, or is it actually us wanting to recreate in miniature our
I
own
think it's miniature.
selves?
I think if you love miniature, that is the fascination for me. To see
We all like
everything
ditty
in
things,
miniature,
don't we?
Little things.
Yeah.
And Yes.
And Hans Andersen used to make little paper cutouts, and he built little theatres out of paper cutouts, and he used to have little theatre performances with these tiny cutout figures.
Yeah, I mean, we all go through a stage of cutting little things out and making little theatre things, don't we?
Yeah. You did cotton on it. I used to dangle my characters around and this sort of thing.
Yeah. It is. There's something fascinating in the psychology of it all, I think. Yeah.
I think it's just the dexterity of things that are made by hand. To get your fingers around something that is so much smaller than your fingers and be able to create those little tiny miniature things. And the paintings.
Yeah, that would fascinate me, seeing the miniature versions of the paintings.
And little full page, and the Bible written on the end of a, I don't know, pinhead or something, this sort of thing.
Incredible.
It's the skill of the person who does it. For me.
Yeah, well, I had a friend who used to paint miniatures. And I mean, it is a very particular skill. You know, she was kind of famous for doing this. And if you look at the details of some Elizabethan miniatures, that size, they're enormously detailed.
What's that one? The very famous one, portrait of a young man standing like that with the.
I know that one. Yeah.
Yes. Oh hell.
Yeah, it's often used to advertise Romeo and Juliet.
Yes, it's so beautiful, and he is the best miniaturist, isn't he? I've seen that.
Very, very famous.
Yes, there is. I can't remember
his name. Hilliard or something like. Is it Hilliard?
Oh no, is that?
Because Grayson Perry did one recently, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He did. There was a television program that was talking about it, and he did a series of portraits of modern people, and then chose a different style to do each portrait in. And he did one guy in the style of an Elizabethan miniature.
I think it was
Nicholas Hilliard.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yes, that does ring a bell.
And
when they have the ruff and the earrings. And
the detail of the ruff with all the lace and it's amazing to see it in a large painting or portrait, but to see it in those miniatures, they're absolutely breathtaking. And the colours, they're absolutely beautiful.
It's incredible stuff, isn't it? Yeah. What I like about it is how your stories kind of generated all this conversation, and we're all our imaginations are fired off now, which is brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, they used to, apparently, the Sears Roebuck catalogue, when it was distributed in the States, apparently when it landed up in the distant regions, whether, I don't know where, Tennessee or whatever, it would land up there, I suppose, around Christmas or the beginning of the New Year, and when the family had all been through it, it would land up in the outside privy. Where it would just last the year.
Big catalogue.
Yes.
Depends on the size of the family, I suppose. So does this still exist? Can I get a copy of the Sears Roebuck catalogue? Can anyone get one?
Well, I read it online. I read it online. But whether they still have one, paper one, I don't know. Possibly in the States they might have.
Okay, that's my Christmas shopping list.
I looked it up online when I wanted to find out about the clocks.
You'll have to buy in America though, won't you? You have to do I haven't done online shopping. I've only done it on English. I haven't gone abroad to buy online.
I have, but you have to be careful with how much it costs. Because books are okay, because they don't tax books.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets complicated.
Have to be very careful.
Yeah. Okay, should we have a little we've still got some stuff on our playlist. We did find some hot chocolate. Oh no, we found some Eagles. So we're going to have a bit of the Eagles.
The CVS Show, exploring the nation's second favourite pastime. Go to www.exetercvs.org.uk to find out how you can make a difference in your community.
The howling of the wolves signifies that we're back in the room, and we're ready for our next story, which is yours, Barbara.
Yes. And again, another gift.
A gift.
Sanjay Shukla arranged his instruments of necessary torture as he waited for the first appointment of the day. If only Patel would be more careful with his dental hygiene, he might have a few more teeth in his mouth, he chuckled. He liked to get to his dental practice early, before the sun's heat aggravated the dusty roar of the Bombay traffic. Being a dentist suited him, as he always made sure his patients had their mouths open, thereby making it impossible for them to speak and him to listen. He wasn't interested in being told their private business, then being reminded that it was in the strictest confidence. And whatever it was, he really didn't want to know. That lesson he learnt from his boyhood. Sanjay Shukla came from an affluent Indian family where his father and grandfather before him were in the diplomatic service. As a child, he was told never to repeat anything he had overheard, and as he overheard nearly everything in his parents' echoey house, he automatically shut up like a clam if he was asked a question, just in case he let slip a secret or information of any kind. Because of his continued silence, the boys at school thought he was stupid and called him a dim dummy, and as time went on, the bullying from his classmates went from bad to worse. His grandfather told him not to worry about other boys' opinions and to remember that every mongoose has its day. Sanjay had never seen a mongoose, but with blind faith and love for the old man, he believed him. Then he met the English boy. On that day, pleased to get away from his bullying classmates, he slunk back to his grand palatial house, only to find decorators in every room, with the female servants shouting at them as they tried to cover the furniture and avoid the paint that splattered over their saris. Further down the long corridor, he could hear his father giving orders. "The Mongol room for Mr. and Mrs. Dixon James, and the yellow room next to Sanjay's for their son." On asking his father what was happening, he was told that an English diplomat and his family were on holiday and would be staying for a few days. "We must make a good impression on them, Sanjay, and you must be courteous in everything, their son, and answer all his questions in a gracious manner." Sanjay sighed. His father had told him to answer questions, which meant he had to talk, and what if he told a secret? His insides wriggled like a snake caught in a net. That night he prayed to Vishnu to help him lose his voice by the time they arrived. 4 days later they did arrive, but his voice was still with him. Jonathan Dixon James was the same age as Sanjay, and although their families had different cultures, the ground rules were the same for both of them. Always think before you speak. So in no time at all, and with so much in common, they got on with one another, and it wasn't long before they had secrets of their own. Sanjay talked about his troubles at school, to which Jonathan said that there's more ways to skin a rat than to talk to it. The visit was all too short, and it was 10 years before they met again, when Sanjay went to study dentistry in England. On the morning of their departure, Sanjay went into Jonathan's room, where a whirring noise came not only from the bathroom, but from his mouth. "What's that?" he said. "Oh, it's the latest thing from America. My father brought it back from his last trip, a battery-operated toothbrush." Sanjay had never seen one. "Wow, I wish I had one," he said. "Here, take it. My father will bring me another one next time he goes, and I'll get you some spare brushes. They're easy to change." The last hour they spent together was like a minute, and after thank yous, handshakes and plans for return visits, the car drove through the large gates, and Jonathan shouted, "Remember the rat." The following day, Sanjay decided not to descend back to his silent, cautious world. He would be diplomatic and play with words instead. He packed his school bag carefully, tucking the toothbrush under his books. Time to do things his way now. Within a week, Sanjay had more school friends than he could cope with. They were virtually lining up to talk to him and to try the battery-operated toothbrush. It was a great success, and teeth in his class had never been cleaner. He told his grandfather everything he had planned, until the day he died, the old man called his grandson Mongoose. Sanjay still wonders if it was the toothbrush or not having to listen to other people's stories that made him take up dentistry. Or, when he was in a more reflective mood, was he on a bound to give something back? The traffic noise outside the surgery was starting to wake. Sanjay Shukla heard Fazia, the dental nurse, arrive, followed by J.D. Patel, one of his old classmates. who greeted him with a near toothless grin before squashing himself into the waiting dentist's chair. "Another loose tooth, Shukla. At this rate, I'll soon have teeth in a glass by the bed. You're the only one of us from school who has his own teeth. Did you know that?" "Hygiene, JD. I keep telling you, hygiene is the answer." Then, thinking about the old battery-operated toothbrush and crossing his fingers behind his back, Sanji told J.D. Patel that dental hygiene and care as to what he put into his mouth could save the few teeth he had left. Even as a boy, Sanji knew that, and as much as he wanted to, he never did try the battery-operated toothbrush, but gave it to boys who were dumber and dimmer than himself.
What inspired that one then,
Don't know. I do not know. It's the strangest thing, isn't it, John? You just
know. There's a whole world being created there, isn't there?
Yes, a whole world.
Yeah.
just don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
And when I sit down and try to do something, and probably I can't get it at all. It just has to come from the muse.
Okay, so it's interesting to mention the Muse because I mean, you guys all meet every other Saturday. That's the group. Are you in a position to take on any new members at the moment, or are you in the middle of a term? Or?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we've got 2 places, and we'd love to have them filled. And also, we still don't have anybody who is disabled at all. And they're very, very welcome, and they can come with their carers.
Yeah, because there's access and everything, isn't there?
There's access for everything. There's services and anything that they want, and it would be lovely.
Yeah.
But yes, other than that, it's going very, very well.
So talking about the Muse, it's a case of do you carry a pen and paper just so that if something comes into your head, you have to write it down?
Oh, always.
The same for you, John, as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
It can be the smallest thing, just the tiniest thing, and you don't know where it comes from, and good ones you can actually, like that, you can just sort of just write them down straight away.
Yes.
And then tidy them up later. But when you have to think about a subject, you start to get picky and you don't get anywhere, do you?
No, because I've been writing an article on roles for about 8 or 9 months, and I still haven't managed to knock it into shape. But there's been too much thinking and too little actual delivery going on.
No, I know. Yeah, you put too much in, and then it starts to get flabby, and you have to kind of start pairing stuff off. Yeah. So there's a kind of real technical engineering side to the writing of the story as well.
Well, yes, there is. I mean, we're just a little group of scribblers, aren't we? Really, compared.
Yeah, fun and just enjoy ourselves. Really.
Yes, but when you read people's novels, and it's astounding the other people's work, astounding.
A journalist friend of mine recommended something which I think is marvellous. If you have a story, or you have an article that's in a kind of foggy state, inchoate state, that lovely word, in your mind, he said, get yourself a dictaphone. So I've got a little battery dictaphone. Yeah. And just tell it to the dictaphone as if you were telling a person the story. And it's amazing how it forms a shape as you're telling it. Yeah. It's as if the telling mechanism in your brain is different from the writing mechanism.
Okay, because it's communicating it as though it was to someone, and you don't want their attention to wander.
Yeah,
you want them to be engaged.
Yes.
So you do all your automatic filtering and paring down as you deliver. Yeah. Possibly, yeah.
But it comes out quite differently. In fact, the prose comes out differently. And that's what's so curious. Sometimes it comes out as more complex than the written version.
Okay, that is
something
interesting.
I used to do with an article. I always used to do 2. I used to do a written and a dictated quite separately of the same article. And then I used to compare the 2, and they were often remarkably different, and then take the best features of both.
Okay, that's an interesting way of doing that. It's quite a clinical way of doing it.
That tip,
a good friend of mine has written and had published a couple of novels, and he's very systematic. He said when he first started writing, it was very much, I'm going to just write the stream of consciousness stuff, see what comes out on the page. But then he found he had to edit, and you have to be brutal. And when he did the first draft of his first novel, there was quite a significant character in there that after reading it he thought, I'm going to take them out because they don't work. Sure. They're not needed. I love that character and I wanted to write them, but they're just flabbiness.
Yeah.
And it's a very strict discipline, really.
It's really
I
quite
realised
difficult, isn't it,
The
John?
first time I had a go at a couple, and then about the third proper go I had at a novel, I sent it up, and they weren't that keen on it, the agent, and so I had a look, but they never quite say what's wrong with it. And I looked at it, and I realised that what had happened was I'd written a plot, and as it were, inserted the characters into it.
Right.
And it was all a bit uncomfortable. So I sat down
like
about a
Cluedo
year
or something.
later,
Yeah.
and I took my central character and I let everything unroll from her actions. She was the central pivot from which everything and it seemed to work. Although by that time, unfortunately, I'd lost this agent who I got on with very well. She'd gone off to Canada, and I had no more contact. And the agency wouldn't take. I was on her books, but they wouldn't take me on somebody else's books, so I was stuck.
Oh, what a situation! So is the novel still around, but still unpublished?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I have to do some self-publishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do
yes.
this now, can't you?
Can
Yes.
I dragged out my pigeon story again.
I love the pigeon story.
568 pages on Rooftops, and it's there. And I even dragged it up to bed last night. And
Good for you.
Because Ian said to me, "You really ought to do that one." But I know lots now have got to come out.
Yeah.
But on rereading it, I thought, well, that's not bad because anthropomorphic, is it? Anthropomorphic.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're really, but they do have feathers for all of that.
I mean, someone told me that doing self-publishing and it's all in the publicity and the social media are getting people to actually understand that it's there and access it more than the old-fashioned way of sending to publishers and hoping that they'll take you on. It's
I had to look into that. But it's not easy. It's not easy, John.
No, it's not at all. No. Okay, guys, we have a little bit more music, and then we'll come to your story, John.
The CVS show on Phonic FM. Find out more about community and voluntary work in Exeter at www.exetercvs.org.uk. Visit us weekdays 9:30 to 4:30 on King William Street or call 01392 20 20 55.
Well, we had a bit of a musical interlude, and now we're ready for another story. I wonder what was going on there. John, we're ready for your story.
Yes.
So fire away whenever you're ready.
Brian shivered. The midday tide had begun to turn, and a cool December breeze swept across the beach towards the pier. Brian had agreed to meet Holly, a friend from school days, at the restaurant on the end of the pier. But Brian was suffering a broken heart. He had recently argued with his girlfriend Helen. "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. I never want to see you again," Helen had told him. And it was not long before Christmas. Oh, Brian was indeed feeling very, very low. Life had finished for him. So Brian decided to take a deck chair onto the beach, sit on it, and wait for the tide to carry both deck chair and Brian out to sea. Upon the exposed wooden framework of the deck chair, Brian wrote, "Helen, Helen, Helen, I love you." It was as though the deck chair was Helen. But on the other hand, Brian concluded, it certainly did not feel the same as actually sitting on Helen. Brian felt even more depressed, and he was beginning to feel very cold. Then he remembered he had promised to meet Holly at the restaurant on the end of the pier. Well, at least it would be warm. So Brian stood up and ran to warm himself to the pier. He'd returned to the deck chair in time for the tide to carry him out to sea. Brian enjoyed his time with Holly. He felt so happy. Brian offered to buy Holly a fish and chip dinner. "It's an early Christmas present from me to you," he told Holly. Meanwhile, the tide had crept up the beach, surrounded the empty deck chair, then carried it out to sea, where it bobbed up and down towards the horizon and out of sight.
It's quite symbolic stuff going on there.
That was a very quick one, John.
There was a short one actually, yes.
Well, a longer one, but I won't do that.
I'll save that for another
No, I'll save it
time.
for another day, but I won't bore you all.
It's interesting. Everybody's different styles of writing, and do you get to know them, Barbara, from running the courses?
Yes, you do actually. Yes, you know, and we did have Trisha. Do you remember? She went.
Yes.
She went to Liverpool. She had She had a very nice style, didn't she?
Lovely style.
Yes.
Yeah, we all liked her stuff a lot.
We really did. Yeah, we were really sorry to lose her.
She did two really good stories on air actually, and
Yes.
they're still available.
Yes.
They're available on our website, but they're available on your website. We must talk about the
Yes.
Words website, which is looking really good at the moment.
Yes, we've got to get some new podcasts, some new stories back down onto it, but we've all been so busy, so that's all in hand for next week.
I'd like, if it's all right, I'd like to put one back that slipped off because it was one of my real favourites, and it was My Christmas with the Axeman.
Oh, I remember that one.
I sent it to my cousin and she loved it. Admittedly, it was her Uncle Ted and my father and her Uncle Ted who was the central character.
Yes, we'll get that one back up,
But
John.
it was one of the few I really wasn't bothered about any of the others, but that one I reread and I thought, no, this was really quite a goodie because it was very funny and it happened to be true as it happened. And as I say, my father managed to get arrested by half of Scotland Yard when this axe fell out of his pocket. And my cousin remembered him. She just roared when she read this, you know.
So we could, John, excuse me, we could actually do that on that 4-track machine, shouldn't we? Be able to put them onto that and then somehow get them onto the website?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Now, I'm not very mechanical, but it's an idea I've got in my head for doing that sort of thing.
I mean, I'm imagining it is still on the CVS website. If you scroll back,
We'd have to go back to last year. It was last Christmas.
it was Christmas 2013, wasn't it? And I think all the stories were in one article together, and it was called the Christmas Brand Tub, because there was Claire's one about the.
That rings a bell.
I'll have a go when I go home.
Yes, there was quite a few, I remember the picture of it had a big Father Christmas on a sleigh. And there was I don't know if it was Charlotte's one, or it wasn't the one about the spin dryer?
No, that was called Cycle.
Cycle, yeah.
You did a great picture of the washing machine and the face on that one.
But these all had a Christmas theme to them. So we'll find out where they are.
We will, John. We will do it.
Yeah.
It's been everyone's been very busy, haven't you, at work at CVS? Everyone's been so busy to give us a hand on this one. But
and we've also had I know it's not so new anymore, but we've had a brand new website that was launched in the autumn.
That's right.
So everything's kind of moved around a little bit.
I did try to find it at one point, but I couldn't. That could be just me.
Okay, I'll have a little dig into the technical bits.
That's
and
the only
bobs.
one the only one I'm sorry to lose off the thing.
I've still got it though.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Great.
Yes.
That's good, John.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Because my cousin, and I mean, we're great buddies, and she would tell me if she hadn't liked it, but she did like it. She said that one really worked, you know.
They all originally got uploaded to the server, so they all live on a server farm in California. Weirdly
Really?
enough, yeah. So when you
Wow.
play them, if you go onto our website and you play and listen to them, that's actually being played from a machine in California.
Goodness me.
It's amazing,
I didn't
isn't
know
it?
that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's weird the way the
I'm going
interweb
to-
works.
It really is. But I think Emily's going to. We're going to go through it and change them over a little bit to freshen the website
Freshen it all
up
up a
now.
bit.
Yeah, for this year. So
Good
that's up to
stuff.
me to discuss with her.
I spoke to the editor that I do the Buddhist articles for a little while back, and he said the Ceylon Buddhist Association wants a couple of your old articles, and he said one of them is called. I said, well, that's okay. And he said one of them is called The End of the Story. What's that about? And I said, oh, I remember that. It's about death. and I sat writing it at the dining table here in Exeter, and my mother said she'd never heard me laugh so much when I was writing something. And the reason is because this guy, this American journalist with a very dry sense of humour, he said there was this big place in California where you could pay a lot of money to have your relations, when they popped off, you froze. There was cryogenic institutes, you see, and they'd freeze them until they were capable of resuscitating them and curing you of what, as if you want to go through it all over again, you know. I mean, really. And anyway, this company, as happens with companies where there's oodles of money, they got carried away with all the spending money, and they began blowing it on Cadillacs and you name it, you know, and condos. And eventually there wasn't enough money to pay the bills, and the electricity company cut them off.
Oh, I know.
And so by the time they got their dearly beloveds back, there wasn't an awful lot to resuscitate. And as this American journalist said, well, I suppose you've never lived till you've died in California.
A lovely, lovely story, isn't it, that?
That's true.
This is true, yes. This is true.
Because Walt Disney's had his head frozen or something, hasn't he?
Has he?
I think so.
Why?
Just in case they can work out what to do with it at some point.
Gosh.
I think a friend of mine did too. I said, you're crazy. You know,
Oh,
crazy.
no, I wouldn't want to
No, neither would
not
I.
for me.
Well, people can get involved. How do they get in touch? They go onto the website or onto our website, yeah?
Yes, on CVS website or Words Writing Group website,
Mm-hmm.
or they can phone
Yeah.
on...
Yeah. I mean, they can contact us at the Volunteer Centre and we'll put them in touch.
yeah, that would be wonderful, yes.
But there's a form on your website, and it's Words Group Exeter.
It's words, www.wordswritinggroup.org.
Okay.
And also there's an email page, so if they wanted to send me an email, the email would come through.
Yeah.
Or, as you say, they can get in touch with the CVS and they'll pass on any details, and we'll be in touch.
Yes.
And really look forward to people coming and enjoying themselves.
And the key phrase is any age, any stage.
Any age, any stage. It is, nobody is there to be cleverer than the next person. That's the most important thing.
I think it's and it's encouraging because there's going to be quite a few people out there who have always wanted to have a go at writing.
Exactly.
And then if they see a lot of groups advertised, they think, well, that everyone on there is going to know what they're doing, and I'm going to be the odd one out.
And they don't.
But this is
And we
a place.
don't.
Yeah.
We don't, yeah.
We don't. Really don't. And it's amazing after just a few weeks how you can improve on what you come in with. You just get tips by listening to others. You don't have to read out anything you're doing anyway. You could just sit at the table, listen to others, write something, and then ask an opinion if you want it, or critique. But that is the joy of it. But you will improve just by being there and having the confidence to write down a small sentence, and then it will be 2 and 3, and before you know it, you've written a page. And very, very, very well worth doing.
Good stuff. Want people to get involved, listen to the podcasts, and enjoy it.
Yes, don't sit at home alone
No.
on a Saturday morning. Come out and enjoy yourself with us.
Yeah. There's tea and coffee. There's
Tea and
a
coffee
few
if they
biscuits
want it.
lurking about.
Yes, we can sort everybody out with all their needs.
Excellent. That's good. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to put some music on now and then do some volunteering opportunities. Okay, it's that time. It's the volunteering opportunities for the week beginning 26th of January 2015. And the first one says, come and join us. And it's all about us at the Volunteer Centre. Exeter Volunteer Centre is looking for advisors. If you could interview people who are looking to volunteer, help them find something they fancy, and then set up an appointment with the organisation that they've chosen, then give Emily McCarthy a call on Exeter 01392 20 20 55. Yes, it's a busy time of year. We are getting more and more people who want to come in and find out about volunteering, and so we need some more advisors to point them in the right direction. And relating to that one, the next one says, or could you be our agent in the field? Exeter Volunteer Centre is looking for advisors, and also they were looking for someone who could
to go up to the university. So we would like someone to go up to the Exeter University and talk to the students up there, and then report back to us. So doing a bit of work at the volunteer centre and doing a bit of work up at the forum at the university, because there's lots of students who'd like to volunteer as well. So if you think you could do either or both of those roles, then give us a call. Give Emily a call on 01392 2020 55. And the next one says spring into action. Put Saturday the 21st of March 2015 in your diary and help the Rock Solid Race event management team make race day a great success. They are looking for people to help with registration, to ensure safety, and most of all to shout encouragement. So if you think you can do a bit of cheerleading on the day, then give Claire Bars a call on 07557 125 302. And the next one says, are you passionate about family? Homestart Exeter are looking for volunteers to offer regular support, friendship and practical help for 2 to 4 hours a week to young families who are finding it hard to cope in their own homes. If you can help build confidence and promote the positive aspects of family life, then give Sophie a call on 01392 426 440 and sign up for their next volunteer prep course, which starts soon. Very good organisation, and they do brilliant training with their volunteers. So if this is something you think you'd like to go into in a kind of social work way or childcare way, then this is a really good way to start. The last one says, fancy a new challenge? Are you aged 18 to 25? Then Jenny's Team V needs you. Throughout the next few months, Team V will be running 3 campaigns aimed at improving and helping the local community by tackling issues that young people are interested in and feel passionate about. So give Jenny Miller a call on 07415 860 956. Quick roundup of those. At the Volunteer Centre, we are looking for people to come help and do advising for us, volunteer advisors. If you want to come in and do it within the Volunteer Centre itself, or you feel you could be our agent in the field up at the university, then give Emily a call on 2020 55. The Rock Solid Race people are looking for people to help out on the weekend of the 21st, 22nd of March. Do a bit of registration, a bit of health and safety stuff, and do loads of cheering. Give Claire Bars a call on 07557 125 302. Homestart Exeter, they want you to get involved on their next training course helping young families cope better. 01392 426 440 to call Sophie. And finally, if you're 18 to 25, you want something interesting to do, a new challenge, give Jenny a call at Team V on 07415 860 956. And there's loads more coming on. They're going to do a Blue Cross special soon, all about animal charity stuff. And give us a call on 2020 55 or check out the website exetercvs.org.uk.
Listening to the CVS show on Phonic FM. The show was produced by John Stammers and Nick Kiss for Exeter CVS. For more information about any of the issues raised in this programme, visit www.exetercvs.org.uk, email cvs@exetercvs.org.uk, call 01392 2020 55, or visit us weekdays 9:30 to 4:30 on King William Street. Exeter CVS is a registered charity supporting the community and voluntary sector in Exeter.